Hello and welcome to my kitchen. My name is Sherry, and if you are a bacon lover, you are in luck today because we're talking about bacon hacks. So things that make it easier when you're working with bacon. One of the things that I noticed is a lot of times you pull your bacon out of the fridge and you go to pull it apart and separate it to fry and it wants to stick together. So a fix for that is if whenever you put it in the fridge, you store it like this. So what you want to do is roll it into a cylinder and then just put a couple of rubber bands around it. And then when you unroll it, it will help whenever you go to separate it. So let's see if I'm lying or not. Cut this open. And so the other thing that I really like to do is I like to cook my bacon in the oven. And that is for several reasons. Number one, I can cook so much more of it. I can cook about 2 pounds of bacon in the oven versus, 4 or 5 strips at a time. And I actually have these baking sheets right here are just dedicated for bacon only. Sounds like I'm saying baking and bacon. So anyways, I'm going to lay these out on here. As you can see, you can fit a lot of these on here. So yeah, I've had these baking sheets for a long time and I've got new ones now. So I just save these just so I can cook bacon on them. And you would think that bacon would stick and whatnot, but it really doesn't. The other thing I like is by putting it in the stove or the oven, a lot of times I have a lot of things on my stove. If I'm making like a chicken fried steak and eggs and gravy and all these other things, I've already gotten all the space on my stovetop used up. So by putting it in the oven, it frees up some space up there. And it also contains all the grease, all the little splatters and stuff. It stays in the oven and you don't have to wipe down the countertop or the stovetop. All right. One other thing I like about it, let's see if we can squeeze these in here. Got one more in. One other thing is I like it because it keeps it flat. So I think it's perfect like if you're going to make a sandwich. I think we can squeeze these in. We'll just move them over a little bit. Make room for your buddies. There we go. Push those that way. One more. All right. So what I like to do is go ahead and put it in the oven. I've got the oven on 400 and I'll do about 5 or 6 minutes on one side and then I'll flip all the bacon and I'll do 5 or 6 minutes on the other side. All right, so our bacon is done out of the oven and you can see how perfectly flat it stayed. So this is just perfect if you want to put this on a sandwich or whatever. But another thing that's an absolute must for me is to save the bacon grease. And there are a million reasons to save your bacon grease. One of them is you can make a bacon candle. Now, I haven't done it. I just know that you can do it. So if you want to do that, you have to Google it. All right, so I'm going to pour my bacon grease in here. And then I just store this in the fridge. But I don't even think you have to store it in the fridge. I think you can just store it on the countertop or the stovetop. So I already drained some of the grease off of here when I turned the bacon over and put it back in the oven. Another thing you can do with it is you can use it to season your skillet. You can use this to make a roux. You can use this to flavor your condiments. So you can take a little bit of bacon grease and put it in your mayonnaise and you'll have a bacon flavored mayonnaise. You can add this to muffins. You can actually make bacon cookies out of this. And if you think that sounds weird, then you really have to try chocolate covered bacon because it is like the ultimate treat. Anyway, one of my favorite things to do with it is to make popcorn with it. So lots of good things that you can do with your bacon grease. And another thing I really like to do is to flavor it. So I have a little bit of maple syrup here. So what I'm going to do is take my little basting brush. And you can flavor this a bunch of different ways. You can use some cracked pepper. You can use some Dijon mustard. You can flavor your bacon up however you like. So I'm just taking maple syrup and we're brushing it on here. Of course, you can buy maple flavored bacon now, but that kind of takes the fun out of it, doesn't it? So I'm going to flip our bacon over and we will give this a coat on the other side. There we go. So a little bit on this side. And then we're going to put this back in the oven for, I don't know, just until it gets sticky. And then I'm going to save all of this. I'm actually not going to eat any of it. I'm going to save it for later. But I can promise you, when you pull this out of the oven, you are going to have a nice sticky treat. And if you want to know what we're saving it for, we're actually going to make pretzels. We're going to make like mall pretzels. And they're going to have bacon on top and maple syrup. So maple flavored bacon and maple syrup. All right, popping this back in the oven. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.